Okay. All right. So happy week one. I'm really excited for this. This is a brand new thing that we've done. We've done like a nutrition challenge every year and stuff like that, but some of the downfalls that we see to that is that it's just the challenge. Like it's the beginning and then it lasts 12 weeks or whatever, and there's no, it's very finite. It's not infinite. Like it has an end date. The problem with that is that the goal of it is to teach something that goes long term, but sometimes that doesn't really work the way that we want it to. So this is going to be a continuous program. So the first thing I want to talk about is how it's going to work, all right? So how it works is a weekly program with support, information, exercise, and guidance. So the exercise will start on week 3. You guys have the benefit of being kind of like the first group. So we're going to spend weeks 1 and 2 getting you guys really set. And then we'll start doing kind of half nutrition, half kind of aerobic-based workout. We'll talk more about that, and I'll publicize the workouts before they're put out there. It's not going to be anything nuts like squat snatches and muscle-ups. It's going to be aerobic-based exercise completely geared towards weight loss. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be something that everybody can do. You'll just bear with me. You'll be fine. But there's that. Also, it's going to be a continuous program that goes forever, and people can join at any time. I'm really going to try to find another way to describe this, but think of it kind of like Weight Watchers. I did Weight Watchers. If you guys don't know that, I weigh less now than when I was 13. I was like 5'5", about 200 pounds, and that's how I got my going on it. But it's kind of like that same scope. We're going to talk, for example, our nutrition backing is RP Strength or Renaissance Periodization, where you can do Weight Watchers. You don't have to follow to the points, but they have their own food program. They have their own points program. Think of it kind of like that. Then it'll be education and it'll be exercise-based too. Weekly support groups and weigh-ins and measurements, just like using Weight Watchers as that example, where anybody could join at any time, anybody can start at any time. So think of it kind of like that. But you do have a big benefit at starting out in the beginning, so there's that. And then like I said, that it's never ending. So, if you feel like you absolutely got the program under control and you want to exit the program because you've lost your weight, that's totally fine. Like that's way to go. That's great. But if you feel like you need it for an extended period of time, or you feel like you need the support, maybe you reach your goal weight, but you just want the community and the accountability, and maybe you just met somebody you didn't know and it just changed your day, and you're like, this is why I got involved, then maybe that's why you stay involved. It'll be continuously running. It won't be a 3-month challenge type deal, all right? Our big focus is going to be centered around nutrition, and there's a big reason for that. And number one is that it plays 80% of your success. It is extremely difficult to outwork a bad diet. It's almost impossible. You can do significant amount of work with being overweight. It doesn't matter. There's I kind of talk about it sometimes, but about a year and a half ago, me and my wife did the Ironman triathlon, and it was like, I'd always noticed it, but it was really cool hearing my mom at the finish line kind of noticed it. My mom at the finish line was like, this is amazing. She's like, these people are 50 pounds overweight and they're crossing the finish line. She's like, never thought that would happen. I mean, you can look at cycling and running and watch the Peachtree Road Race and stuff like that. It doesn't mean they're doing bad. It just means that you don't have to be thin to do significant amount of work. You can work really hard. You can come to the gym all the time. You can run really far. You can do a lot of aerobic activity and still be overweight based on the diet. So if the diet is incorrect, it won't allow you to lose weight. With that being said, though, you still need to exercise. And the reason for that is you want a healthy, fit body. So you can get really thin off nutrition, but thin doesn't mean that you're going to be fit. You can be thin and sick. You can be thin and weak. You can be thin with poor mobility. You can be thin with bad digestion and a weak immune system, all because we're not exercising. So the whole goal is to build a body that is functionally sound. Just like when we talked about a couple weeks ago at the Fitness and Sports seminar, you are trying to build a body that isn't limited. It's strong outside these 4 walls. It has a good nutrition foundation. It's thin and lean the way you want it to be, but it's also allowing you to express yourself in the modalities and strength that you want it to. But now, with that being said, you're going to run into a lot of stuff. So we're about to do an exercise, not like a stand-up exercise. We're about to do an exercise because it's going to get really difficult. So, and I'll be up front with you on that. It's going to get really difficult. You will run into things that make you not want to go anymore. And that's just part of the process for wanting to do well. So just to recap on the one thing that I've talked about so far is even though our process is still losing weight, the majority of you are members here that exercise, you still want to keep your exercise up. Exercise will absolutely accelerate the process. It will increase your metabolic burn. It'll make you healthy and fit. It will make you not have to worry about metabolic disease and stuff like that. But you cannot work a bad diet, right? And a lot of people know how to exercise, or that exercise is good, or they will go to the gym every day. People will put that in their check mark. But a lot of times we get lost in that nutrition. So that's what this is about, to give you that source. But it's going to get really difficult. And I want you to think about your why, all right? And we're going to go over this for a minute. And this is going to be our first exercise of the day. You're going to need a reason that when something gets in the way and you don't want to come to the gym, that you go to the gym anyways. There's going to be something that happens on a Sunday, or 2 Sundays, or 3 Sundays, or 5 Sundays in a row where you don't want to come. There's going to be something where it's much easier to cave in and not do the diet than to do it. And there needs to be a bigger reason for that, and that's called your why. For the same reason that you get up in the morning and you go to work, because if you didn't, it would result in X, Y, and Z. You are more motivated to go to work because you're not going to settle for X, Y, and Z. You're more focused on living in your home and driving your car and being able to eat and survive, as you should be, that's not what I'm saying, than not going to work and blowing that off so you can't have those things. And when you start looking at decisions like that, you start getting the things that you want. And that's pretty relevant to anything that you want to do in life. It's just pretty easy, because if you skip the meal today, you don't gain 30 pounds instantly. So it's just one meal. It's the 30 pounds over time. So to be very clear, this is going to be your last first time. We do not want to enter this with saying, I'm going to restart this. I'm going to restart next week. Or, like, one of the most detrimental things to your success is saying that the diet starts blank. It starts Monday. Or, I'm back on this date. Or it's a process and it's a lifestyle. And it's just something that you do. And just like breathing, it needs to be something that you just follow through with. Not how do I fit exercise or diet into my daily life, but how do I fit my daily life into exercise. If you get up early in the morning to beat traffic, get up early in the morning to beat your butt in the gym with a workout. If you're making those decisions in other areas, they can overlay here. So you need to know your why so you can fall back on it. So when you fall back on that and you say, this is really difficult, and what's my big driver? What's my purpose? You're going to have an answer for that. We're going to start figuring out that answer. So I gave you a card. I gave you 2 cards. I want you to pull out your first card. And you can share this with me if you want, or you can share it with your buddy. But at the end of the day, this is for you. So don't lose the other card, because our second exercise, I'm going to need that second card. But the first card is all for you. So if you don't want to show it to anybody, that's fine. But when you're done with this, I would encourage you to keep it. Keep it, laminate it, put that sucker on your fridge, put it in your car, whatever you want to do. There's a cool story before we go through this. This dude, I can't remember his name, but here you go. And then I'll have to undo the second one. So there's this dude, I wish I remembered his name, I meant to look it up. But it doesn't even matter. He was running track and field, and he was doing a bunch of different events in track and field for the '96 Olympics. And he had missed the Olympics, he had failed to qualify, and he had missed a medal in previous years. And for the '96 Olympics, his purpose for training is that he wanted to win a gold medal. And he wrote it everywhere. He wrote it on his toilet seat, he wrote it on his rearview mirror, he wrote it in his kitchen, and everywhere he went, it said 96 Olympics, 96 Olympics. And he went out and he won a gold medal in every single event. And I wish I could remember his name, I'll look it up. But that's kind of the purpose of that. Every time he didn't want to wake up in the morning, every time he didn't want to train, every time he didn't want whatever, his fallback was, dude, this is it. I want to win the 96 Olympics. And this is going to be your 96 Olympics. All right? So, you're on this first card, we're going to start writing down a few things. So the first thing is, why did you want to do this? So before you write anything, when you write this, I want you to think of it as not multiple things. It might be lose 30 pounds, or it might be whatever. Don't give it an end date or anything like that. Write down the main reason that you wanted to start this program. So write that down. Oh, did anybody not get a pen? Okay. All right, so you wrote down the main reason of why you wanted to start the program. Great. Draw a line underneath that. And then I want you to write down why. So you got your main reason. Why? If you want to lose 30 pounds, why do you want to lose 30 pounds? Write that down. Because that first goal, that first why, is kind of surface level. And losing 30 pounds doesn't tell the whole story. It's kind of like a surface level goal. All right, so we got the reason you started the program. You got a line underneath that. On that line, you wrote why. So you got your goal. I'm just using the same example. Lose 30 pounds. Why do you want to lose 30 pounds? You have that written down, right? Draw a line underneath that. Why? So I want to lose 30 pounds. Why do I want to lose 30 pounds? Maybe it says something like, I want to feel better about myself. I want to be more confident. Why? Why do you want to feel better about yourself? Why do you want to be more confident? Why do you want your clothes to fit? Don't steal mine, whatever yours are. We got it? All right, circle it, highlight it, put a star by it, whatever you want to do, draw a freaking arrow to it. When this stuff gets really, really hard, and it's going to get really hard in the beginning when you don't have a clue on what you're doing with your nutrition, and it's going to get really hard when it's 26 degrees outside and whoops, about that heater. It's going to get really difficult. There's going to be a couple weeks where things go by, maybe you don't lose the amount of weight that you decided that you should lose versus what your body said, or when you miss a lift or whatever. That's why you're doing what you're doing. And never let that go from your mind. Because that first reason is not why you're doing what you're doing. It's just what you want to do. You want to lose 30 pounds, using it for that example. It's not why. Like if that first part, again, I'm using the same example. I don't know what yours are. I want to lose 30 pounds. It doesn't tell us any part of the story. Like, you'll just subconsciously or consciously make decisions of I'm going to give up that first part for whatever I want right now. That third part is not sacrificing what you want most for what you want right now. Always remember that third part. All right, so now we're going to talk about a lot of principles of nutrition. So we're done with that first exercise, but keep that in mind. Write that down again somewhere. So the majority of you are going to do RP. Some of you guys are not. It doesn't really matter. It's all about principles, all right? So I'm real big on principles of training, principles of dieting, not one set way. Believe me, if there was a true answer of you need to do this to stay fit, you need to do this to stay thin, only eat this way. If squats, I know it feels like squats are the best because we do them so much, but if squats were the only exercise you needed to do to stay fit, and all you needed to do was eat chicken breast and water, you better believe that this would be a one PowerPoint slide, and it would be, hey, listen, we're going to squat, we're going to eat chicken breast and water. There's multiple different ways to reach the same goal. And a lot of that is variety, and we'll talk about that in your training and how that progresses your training. But a lot of training programs work really well with intensity. So I did a Facebook Live video about this the other day if you want to go back and watch it. But especially now at the beginning of the year, people hop around different training programs. And athletically, we see top-end athletes jump around from training program to training program or coach to coach because they feel like one coach is going to get better results than the other one, or they want to go to a different gym, or they want to do whatever. At the end of the day, I don't care how crazy your program is. you're probably going to see results. You can do the lemonade and cayenne pepper diet. You can do Orange Theory, CrossFit, boot camps. You can do Zumba. It doesn't really matter what you do. Here's what happens, though, is that somebody will follow a program at 50% effort. They might, kind of like the coach, not really. They might kind of like the atmosphere at the gym, not really. They go 1-2 days a week, whatever. Think of any scenario you can. And then for whatever reason, they start believing in a program. And they say, this is for me. This is it. My buddy did this. My other buddy did this, whatever. I'm going to go join Barry's boot camp. Or I'm going to go join Strongside. Or I'm going to do whatever that is. And then they go and they give massive amounts of intensity. They never veer from the diet. They come 6 days a week. They are on it. They join Strongside Weight Loss. They do whatever. And they meet that training program with intensity. That's what got them their goals. It wasn't that the other program didn't work. I mean, maybe it did if it was like just some weird program. But it probably wasn't that, is for whatever reason they decided to make that commitment. And you'll notice that the core principles are really all the same. There's no dietary programs out there telling you to eat birthday cake and pixie sticks, and if you do this, then you'll lose weight. I mean, like look at intermittent fasting, look at Weight Watchers, whatever. It's some combination of some healthy carbohydrates that are vegetables and fruits and stuff, a lot of lean proteins like chicken and fish and whatever, and a lot of healthy fat sources. So nuts, seeds, oils, avocados, whatever. There's no Pop-Tart diet. And other than that, it's pretty much the same. Now, the goal of all training programs and all nutrition programs is to give you a platform that is easy to follow. It's like we go our whole lives without really getting this massive education on nutrition and this easy platform to follow that yields good results. So we're trying to give you that platform. And that's why we kind of fall back on our RP. Because when I found out about RP a couple of years ago, I was like, good grief, this is exactly what I've been making for all my clients. Why don't I make an Excel sheet out of this and just sell it and be a billionaire? But that's what it is. And it was so cool to be able to see, okay, here's what you need to eat, when you need to eat it, so on and so forth. But all dietary programs have principles. And you'll notice what the key principles are, all right? And I want to go over this first. So when you're looking at ways to be successful in your diet, that you understand what gives you the best outcome. Because what we're really after is productivity. We want to be very productive in our dietary setup. So number one is look at that bottom part. I don't know how well you can see it, but consistency is 100%. So it doesn't matter what the program is. Consistency is what matters. So if you follow the program Monday through Friday, and I'm not telling you can't go a little crazy on the weekends, but if you obliterate it on the weekends with, Jay Christopher's and Longhorns and just don't even care and 10 drinks, you're going to screw up a lot. And not only that, but somebody who follows it really hard Monday through Friday and then using that weekend example, at least does some idea of measuring it on the weekends, will do much better because the consistency was much higher. If we notice that we're getting Monday through Wednesday doing really well and then Wednesday through Sunday we're dropping off, there's not a lot of consistency there. So consistency met with intensity is always what gives you the most bang for your buck. Also, volume. This happens a lot with diet, is a lot of people misnegotiate the volume. So calorie balance, or you can even look at I kind of blend the first and second part together, calorie balance and macronutrients, so carbs, fat, and protein. That's 80% of your success in the diet. And here's what I mean by that. 94% of people undereat. A lot of people undereat. If weight loss was as easy as eat less and exercise more, I wouldn't have a job. There'd be no reason. It would just be go walk on a treadmill and don't eat and you'll weigh whatever you want. And that doesn't work like that. Everybody hits like this, oh my goodness. And then any diet program you follow probably has you eat more than you've ever eaten in your life. And you're like, what in the world? Yeah, most people don't eat enough. You can sustain energy off a very low caloric amount. So think of it this way, that you have $100, you have to have $100 to pay your bills. So 99 ain't gonna cut it, you need $100. And you come to the bill man or whatever with 4 brand new, crisp $20 bills. And you're like, here you go, buddy. That's $80. You're short $20. You can't go below your caloric bank account. And that happens all the time. And your body's not gonna let you be as strong as you want it to be, as lean as you want it to be, nothing. Because you're gonna start owing interest to that. And that's called calorie debt. and you're going to start owing more and owing more over and over again. And the last thing it's going to let you do is lose more weight to support the calories you're not giving them. So the amount and volume measures way more. So we'll get a lot of like, I eat organic. That's great. You probably should. That's fantastic. But you're also not eating. So there's your 4 crisp $20 bills. But you didn't eat till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and when you did, you had like a small little almond bar, and you were just stuffed, and then you tried to work out, and you about passed out everywhere, and then you went home and had some orange juice. And you're like, oh, okay, well, you had 5 calories. So that's just how it works. And we don't think about that. That's why we write so much stuff down, because we don't, let's just go. Life's freaking nuts, and that's just what happens. So and then look above that, nutrient timing, and stuff. So, and the food composition is what I just talked about with organic and stuff like that. But nutrient timing matters like 10%. So again, volume matters way more. So when you look at like your RP sheet, which we're going to go over, and they're like, eat 30 minutes after, whatever. I do RP every single day, and I usually have a 3:30 client. So I eat right before my 3:30 client, and then I go 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30 p.m., and then I go home. I double up my last 2 meals, which we'll talk about in a second. Like, the nutrient timing matters 10%. The volume. If I go home and don't double up those meals, like, oh, I'm just going to have 1, and I'm 20% short in my calories, that affects that whole 80% bottom. Supplements are 5%. So again, that's why there's not a lot of supplements here, and there's never been a whole lot of supplements. I don't sell like 10 different types of supplements. Like, it's just protein, it's a fit aid. If you want to feel good and get some protein in, because you don't want to sit down and eat a chicken breast right after your workout, you'd rather do a protein shake, you're paying for convenience. But supplements are 5%. And I know the supplement market is huge, it's billions. But no, like, I watched a really cool documentary with Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates is a 6-time Mr. Olympia. And just so we're all clear, all bodybuilders use steroids, and they're pretty open about it. I mean, I eat chicken too, and I'm not. But he says training, nutrition, sleep, training, nutrition, sleep, steroids. So notice the breakdown there, right? Like, supplements, even on a steroidal effect, like taking something that makes you massive, is the last thing on that dude's list. He's like, and this is back like in the 80s or whatever, but he's like, if I'm not training every single day, if I'm not making every nutrition focus that I can make, if I'm not sleeping the way I need to and taking care of my body, steroids aren't going to get me anything. He's like, and that's 100% true. Steroids don't make you big and strong. They allow you to recover. And imagine if you were never sore. That's why people take steroids. So you're never sore and you're never tired, and every training session could be at 100%. Those dudes, like, you're joking if you think that every dude in the Tour de France isn't doping. They're all doping. Lance never failed a drug test. He just admitted to doping. But they're all doing it. And that's a whole nother fair sport argument. But those guys are still on their bike 8-10 hours, like 5-6 days a week. Does that make sense? So the amount of supplements you take doesn't override the volume of nutrition that you take in. And that volume is 80% of your success. Principles number 2 is eat to the template. That's going to make your life a whole lot easier. So eating to the foods that are on there make your life much easier than trying to get super fancy, which we'll talk about in a second. Quality versus quantity, going back to you have to have $100 to pay your bills. Always remember quantity. Did you hit your volumes? Did you eat enough to support throughout the day? Versus quality, I ate well, but I didn't eat enough. You need to eat enough, and you need to eat well, but how well you eat doesn't override how much you eat. And then failing to plan is planning to fail. So we're about to go through 3 different slides talking about success in your diet. And but the more that you plan everything out, and this is why the first 2 weeks we're not exercising, we won't exercise until the 3rd week. This is why next week we're doing the whole meal prep day type deal. But the more you plan, the more success you will have. And it makes everything much easier, and it takes way less time to get all that done. All right, so if you meal prep, meal prep success. So write everything down. That's step number 1. Write down everything that you do or everything that you plan to do. So you have a log for everything. Because it is way harder to start planning all this stuff without writing it down, meaning like your meals. Like, okay, what is a meal going to look like? And we'll kind of dissect that in a second. But if you go to the grocery store with your meals already written down. make a grocery list and know what you're going to eat the entire week. So you want to make sure that you plan everything out of everything that you're going to do throughout the whole week, and then you shop for that week. So you're going to basically prep in line items, and you're going to say, I want to have this, I want to have this, I want to have whatever. And you'll go ahead and have your whole week planned. So you're going to write everything down, you'll make a grocery list, and plan the whole week of all of your meals. And then plan in line items and keep it simple, kind of go hand in hand. So the second to last slide on here is looking at an RP template, and you'll notice all these line items, and it's made like an Excel sheet because you're going to prep in line items. So you're going to say, I'm going to prep meal 1. And I don't care if you're doing macros or whatever you're doing. Meal prepping just ensures your success. It doesn't put you in a situation where there's all this anxiety of what am I going to eat. No matter what training program you're doing, no matter what nutrition program you're doing, you're probably all going to fall in a bucket of meal prepping. That just guarantees your success. It's like prepping for a big meeting. You want to close the deal. You want to do whatever. So, but you're going to plan in line items. You're going to say, I'm going to cook all my breakfast. You're not going to prep Monday and prep Tuesday and prep Wednesday, because that's 5 different volumes, 5 different meals or whatever. You cook meal 1, you cook meal 2, you cook meal 3, so on and so forth. Organize your success. So you need a food scale, measuring cups, plastic baggies, and a whole lot of Tupperware. So if you have those 4 things, you're probably set. And here's what I mean by that. So you'll notice little tricks and stuff that basically the whole point of next Saturday, if you can make that, is saying, hey, this is how I've screwed up so you don't have to. All right, so like for example, I take all my workout meals. So you guys notice that you got workout meals. All that stuff's in plastic baggies. And it's my protein, creatine, branched chain amino acids. That's what I choose to take. 5 plastic baggies throughout the week, boom, done. My fat content is always almonds, plastic baggies, boom, done. And I'm just grabbing and going in the morning. Like I walk out of the house, I don't come home till night. So it's just done. The food scale allows you to measure everything out. Any program is probably going to have you measure some stuff out because you'll know the volumes of what you're eating. You'll also be massively surprised at how much money it actually saves you when you do that. And then measuring cups are kind of like a backup. You won't put too much in measuring cups, but you just need those 4 things. You don't need like a Martha Stewart kitchen or anything like that, but if you have a food scale, measuring cups, plastic baggies, and Tupperware containers, pretty much done. All right, and then shopping for success. So when you go grocery shopping, there's a whole lot of anxiety. It's like, oh my goodness, what am I supposed to eat? Or you can overbuy, you can underbuy, or you can have a bad experience that allows you to get home and get more frustrated. You want to shop weekly. Don't shop bi-weekly. Just make it a plan to shop weekly. It shouldn't consume your whole day, but you're going to need to shop weekly for a couple reasons, one of which is you're probably going to be buying some fresh stuff that goes bad anyways. Since we talked about 2 slides ago, you're going to go ahead and have your whole week kind of planned out for you, is that you're going to shop for that week. So you're going to buy your chicken for that week, or we'll talk about a different strategy in a second, or your vegetables for that week or whatever. And it's much easier. You don't get overwhelmed with too much stuff in your fridge. You don't get overwhelmed with having too much food or not enough food or whatever. You plan for that week. And it also allows you to get through the whole week and realize what you liked and what you didn't like and what do you want to change. Do you want to change a certain meal, or do you want to stay with the same foods? You're only making a weekly commitment to eat the same meal 1 or the same meal 2, so on and so forth. You're not changing everything every day. It'll make it very difficult if you try to change everything every day. If you if you go to Sam's or Costco or something like that and you buy like massive amounts of meat, do yourself a favor and go ahead and cut the stuff up and weigh it out to go ahead and be frozen. So like, for example, what I'll do is go to the grocery store, we buy like, whatever, like X amount of chicken or whatever. But anything that's left over is already going in freezer bags, weighed out to those amount of ounces. That way it's just grab and go, grab and go. Do yourself a favor by failing to plan is planning to fail, and making it as easy on yourself as possible. And the last thing is budgeting for success. So if you shop at Sam's or Costco for your meat, because I know it's like right up the road, they're built at Costco, but that allows you to get significant volumes of meat, because you're gonna eat a lot of lean meat. Even if you don't, so like even if you shop at like Kroger or Publix or something like that, when you start measuring this stuff out, you're gonna realize how much food it actually gets you. Because, for example, a lot of people will go buy like a packet of 6 chicken breasts or whatever, and they're like, oh, this will feed us for like 2 nights. And then you start weighing that stuff into your template, 4 ounces, 3 ounces, 6 ounces, whatever number you got. And then you're like, oh, wow, I get 28 meals off of $10 worth of chicken. Oh, okay. Don't get close with your meat. You'll notice that too. Like I talk a whole lot about how measuring your food out at any degree saves you a whole lot of money. It's crazy. But what I mean by close is like, let's say you're supposed to have 4 ounces of meat and you put 6 ounces on the scale. And you're like, I'm only 2 ounces off. I'm kind of close. You kind of are, but there's also half of another meal. That was 50% of your protein for another meal. So you kind of bumped up your total caloric volume by that much, but you also kind of like doubled your grocery bill a little bit too. Get your fresh vegetables from a grocery store. You might have to take 2 grocery shopping trips. I shouldn't say trips, but like I know we go to like Sam's and Costco, and then we'll go to like Kroger when we're done or whatever. If you buy an abundance of fresh fruit and vegetables, they're probably going to go bad, and you're just going to like waste all this food. It's much easier to say, I'm going to make a cucumber salad. You just go to Kroger, Publix, whatever, and you get whatever you need for that, rather than buying 12 peppers and you realize you only need 3. With that being said, though, you're probably going to need more than you think. So I know a lot of you guys already got the templates, you've been playing with it or whatever, but when it says like 2 servings of vegetables and you're like, I'm good with 1 head of broccoli, you're going to need like 15 heads of broccoli. You're going to need a lot more than what you think. Remember, 94% of people undereat. And then you don't really need to overbuy a whole lot. A lot of people overbuy to think, oh, I'm going to have enough. Buy a little bit more than what you think you need, but you don't need like Costco level. Like you don't need if you're gonna make, like I have tacos literally every single night. I don't know why, I just love tacos. And like I put peppers in the meat, and I am fine throughout the whole week on like 2 peppers. I don't need the 6 peppers that Sam's and Costco sell. So you can overbuy a little bit, but you don't need that much abundance. So the next thing is, how does RP work? So a lot of you guys had questions on it, whether you got the template or some people were like sketchy on it, like I don't know if I should get the template or whatever. Here's the essence of how it works, because I know we've done a lot of nutrition stuff in the past too, is it's all macro based. So your macronutrients are carbs, fat, and protein. Carbs, fat, protein, alcohol. Those are the only 4 things that have calories. Well, we're definitely not macro and breakfast with vodka. So it's carbs, fat, and protein, all right? And macro-based just means you need a diet centered around carbs, fat, and protein. You don't look at just total caloric volume. You look at percentages of carbs, fat, and protein. But it carb cycles around your training. That goes all the way back to the 60s. Bodybuilders and stuff have been using carb cycling diets forever. And bodybuilding and endurance sports are the only things that we really know. Like when you really look at training, when you really look at nutrition, you can go online right now and buy any endurance program you want. $5.99, couch to 5K, whatever. And you can buy any bodybuilding template or diet program that you want. Those are the only 2 training methodologies that as a sports science we actually understand. And that's been around for a really long time. But carb cycling and bodybuilding works a lot more like days, like high days, low days, whatever. Carb cycling around training has been in endurance sports forever. It's like, okay, if I'm going to go on a long bike ride, I need to cycle around my ride to make sure I have enough carbohydrates or whatever. You're doing the same thing. You're just cycling it into your daily training. So if you work out at 7:30 at night, why do you need a bagel and a half for breakfast? You're not working out for 12 more hours. So it'll wean you carbohydrates throughout the day. Or vice versa. If you work out in the morning, yeah, you probably need a little bit more carbs to make it through your workouts. Your insulin levels are really high. You need to put that stuff back in your muscles. But at 6 o'clock at night, why do you need a bowl of cereal? So think of it kind of like that. So it's an ascending or descending carbohydrate diet. So that's why you'll notice some of your meals have like literally 0 carbohydrates, and some of your meals kind of ramp up. Like I don't work out till about 12:30. My breakfast has 0 carbs. I get a protein shake and some greens and stuff. But then around my workout meals, I'm getting like 80 grams of carbs. I'm also the only dude in the program, right? So there's that. It allows direction and consistency. So go back to what we talked about in the beginning. So any program met with consistency and intensity always yields the best results, always. And it gives you so much guidance. So it literally is walking you through everything step by step of when to eat, how to eat, what to buy, the time to eat, stuff like that. And it's saying, here you go. So that's the benefit of the RP templates and how they work. So it's macro-based, it's carb cycling around your training, which has been around forever and is super beneficial, and it allows direction versus if you just do macros and you can fill it in with anything. If you have that personality, it allows you to do it great, but every time we do that, or people are always like, well, what should I eat? What should I eat? What should I eat? Here you go. And it gives you exactly what to eat. So now let's look at the template. So this is the new template. I know that some of you guys have done this either before or you had the template from a while ago. They just changed this template a couple months ago. It's the same. It just looks different. All right. So this is a nice looking PDF versus an Excel sheet. Oh yeah, that's cool. Okay. You're gonna notice first off with the template that there's 3 different options to choose from. So there's a hard, moderate, and light. So let's explain that first. Number 1, it's comparing against people who already train as hard as you. So you are in the gym running and rowing and biking and doing deadlifts, and that's who it's comparing it to. So long story short, you're all a light day. And every time I say that, everybody's like, excuse me, have you taken a WOD? Yeah, but it's also comparing it against other people who do the same thing. So, and it'll tell you in those PDFs that you got sent that the hard day is like multiple sessions a day. It's for those regionals athletes or those games athletes or the professional athletes. And then the hard day is maybe you did the Olympic weightlifting class in the morning, you came back to do the WOD in the afternoon, whatever. The light session is based on minutes. What you're doing is not easy by any means, but it's an hour. You're working out really hard for an hour and you're not working out for 23 hours. Then more than likely you're training 4 to 5 days a week. You're not training 7 days a week with multiple sessions. And you're still going to complain about how much food you're eating. That idea make sense? So you are a light day. Yeah. Light day. It's the same information. It just looks different. New template, old template. Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah. But all of you that got the templates got all that stuff that says moderate, hard, light, whatever. There are also base, fat loss 1, fat loss 2, fat loss 3, and new base. Number 1, so when you start this and you start on base, God, that got loud. But when you start on base, stay on base. If it's not broke, don't fix it. All right? The PDFs that are in there. So first off, I understand everybody gets the templates, they get the email, and even though the automated email tells you to read through all the PDFs before you open this, every single person just opens this. If you're a little lost, go back and read the other 2 or 3, it's at least 2, 30-page PDFs that you got emailed with all the information on how to follow. All right? But it'll tell you all this in there. Yeah. There's that too. Yeah, definitely watch those, but it'll tell you that you have base, fat loss 1, fat loss 2, fat loss 3, and new base. On base, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And what I mean by that is you might stay on there longer than the template recommends for you to stay on there. It might recommend that you stay on there for 4 to 6 weeks, but depending on how much weight you want to lose or have to lose, you might be shredding pounds on base, and you are fine to stay on there for several months as long as your lifts are going up, you're feeling good in the WODs, and you're continuing to lose weight. So most of you, and I'm just going to use this example, most of you know Matt Brown, and I love Matt Brown, but he also has a dude's mentality when he started following the sheet. It is not a psychological decision to do better. It is a physical decision. And what I mean by that, Matt Brown 1 week on base. And he's like, I'm killing it. Cut 3, baby. Jumps to fat loss 3, where you get like nothing. You basically get to look at a rice cake, and that's about all you get. And he came in like dying. Could not do anything. Just dragging. Couldn't lift anything. I was like, what'd you do? And he's like, I just went for it. And I was like, well, don't. Like, don't. Just go for it. You're going to need that time to adapt. So spend some time on base. Then you can go to fat loss 1. Then fat loss 2. If you just jump to fat loss 3, then I just tell you to go jump to fat loss 3. It's way too much. It's little. I did cut 2. It used to be called cut 2. Now it's called fat loss 2. I did fat loss 2 to like trim down right before we got married a couple months ago because I wanted to like be lean for Mexico. And I was so angry. So angry. Like, I mean, I hated everything. It's no food. Enjoy base. Stay on it. And now I'm back on a mass program. I've been doing this almost a year now, and I was on base for like 6 months, and then I just went to mass 1 just because I noticed that my lifts weren't going up at the same rate, and I just moved over. You can, even if you followed it to the duration of time that it says to stay on each phase or cycle, if you stayed on exactly like 12 weeks, you'd make it a whole year before you even need to recycle through anything. And then during that time, if you lose 40 pounds in a year or 60 pounds in a year, at that time when you're done with the whole template, you probably need to get a new template because you are not the same you that you were anymore, but you're probably proud about that because you lost 60 pounds or whatever. But that's how those work. When you're looking at this, always remember, and you can go back, and like I said this on YouTube and stuff, you can always go back and look at that first slide where I talked about what matters most, like the volumes and what matters like with supplements and stuff like that. So you look at the different verticals, all right? So when you're planning a meal, when you're planning what you're gonna do, number 1 is that you have when you're gonna work out, all right? So you say, I typically come at whatever time. Some of you fluctuate in the times that you come here. It doesn't matter. Basically just flip the program upside down. So if you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 a.m. and Tuesday, Thursday at 7:30, I'm just making that up. It's the same meals and volumes, it's just turned upside down. So you can literally prep all 5, or all 5 days a week or whatever. It's just turned upside down versus if you're training in the morning, you're gonna get your carbs in the morning. If you're training at night, you're gonna get your carbs at night. So it's not that big of a deal to flip-flop. You also might have, you're like, well, I don't really know when I'm gonna do that, but I know that my weeks are kind of sporadic. You can just prep 3 meals or 3 days worth of exercise and 2 of no exercise or non-training. So they have non-training days because you're not really doing anything, right? You're doing daily activity, whatever, and it will define that for you in the PDFs and YouTube videos and stuff too. For example, if you go walk your dog for 45 minutes, if you go hike Kennesaw Mountain or whatever, you did your recreational enjoyment of life, that's not really considered training or exercise. If you go run a mile, like that's not the same as crazy heavy deadlifts. So that would still fall under a non-training day. But if you're like, well, I'm gonna work out 3 times this week, but I don't know which days, then you make 5 days worth and you have 3 days of training and you're like, well, I know if I go, I'm going in the evening. Okay, cool. Then you make 3 days like that and you make 2 days of non-training days. Then it will tell you, if you look at the left over here, when to eat. So I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna eat this. And then 3 hours later, I'm gonna eat this. You're trying to eat every 2 to 3 hours. You notice that your protein consumptions will pretty much stay the same. So you know that at every meal you need the same volume of protein. And you're like, oh, okay, well, where do I get my protein from? You look up top, above that little red sign, it says, hey, here's all your sources of protein that you can get from. So that's how you start designing meals. And you start saying, okay, well, I want chicken, or I want fish, or I want steak, or I want whatever. Then you look at the vegetables, 1 cup of vegetables. Okay, pick from those vegetables. And then when you look at healthy fats, same deal. And then you look at the carbs. Now, if you have an older template on those Excel sheets, you just start scrolling down. It's a little bit longer. The newer template is a little bit more user-friendly, where it says light, moderate, hard, and you just pick which one. And then you have your workout carbs. And you just look up top on what you want to design your meals from. So there's going to be a little curve up front where you're trying to learn more and more about how to design meals or what meals you like. And some of you may use the cookbooks or whatever. But you don't got to get super fancy up front. You can make your meals super, super simple. I would encourage you to shop per macronutrient, meaning that you look at the protein, the vegetables, the fats, and the carbs, and you say, I'm going to shop per nutrient. if you try to make your meals off of lean cuisines or Hot Pockets, using those as an example, I know it's kind of bad food, just think about that for a second, how much of each nutrient is in there, versus if you said, look, I'm going to shop all protein, so I'm going to go find all my protein sources, my chicken, my fish, my whatever, then that's all protein. Then I'm going to find all of my veggies. What do you want for vegetables? Then when you look at your healthy fats, do I want nuts, seeds, oils, avocados, whatever? Then look at your carbohydrates. What do you want? Do you want rice? Do you want a sandwich? Do you want a wrap? You can eat whatever you want. You know, of course, eat well. And there's not like a limitation. You can be in a family of 6. Everybody sits down to have tacos for dinner. The only difference is you're weighing and measuring the amount of taco that you get. You want pasta? Great, eat some pasta. It just has to fit your meals. But if you start making a lasagna, you see how we got kind of complex there? Versus if I make my own chicken Alfredo, well, I have sauce, I have chicken, and I have noodles. Okay, I can easily measure that out to hit my carbs, fat, and protein. So the less complicated it is, the easier it will be for you. Then you want to prep in line items like we talked about. Like if you say, I'm just gonna use mine as an example, just because I know my numbers. So like, if I train at 12:30 in the afternoon just about every single day. Okay, meal 1, I get, and you can sub any of these out for protein shakes. I wouldn't do all of them as protein shakes, but I mean you could if you want to make it easy. All right, so I don't eat till 12:30. I train after meal 3, and I eat a light day. So I train 1 to 2 times a day, but I have 1 hard session and I have 1 aerobic session. So that's how my days work. I don't really count my aerobic session, but I have 1 hard session. So light day, I train after meal 3 at 12:30 when I eat this template. Meal 1, I'm allowed protein, no carbs, and half a serving of fat. Every morning, I don't even need to prep it. Boom, done. Protein shake, 2 scoops of protein, half serving of almonds, I'm out the door. Done. My next meal goes up. I now get 30 grams of carbs, and I get some protein and vegetables. Every morning, I have salmon, vegetables, and I get a half serving of almonds. My next meal, I'm about to train, it goes up. I'm prepping for the whole week. I get rice, chicken, vegetables, half serving of almonds. I just keep it simple. Then I'm gonna work out. I choose to get my exercise carbs from Gatorade. So I get Gatorade and protein. I make 6 baggies of protein, 6 Gatorades, boom, done. Next meal is that's my double meal, so it's a little weird for me. But I'll have like tacos and something else. But either way, option 1, option 2, option 3. You're line iteming this stuff out and cooking just 1 meal at a time. So don't cook today, don't cook on Monday, cook on line items. Meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, so on and so forth. Even though this works kind of vertically, you go over and you say, 15 grams of protein, where do I get it from? 1 cup of vegetables, where do I get it from? So on and so forth. And going into next week, we're gonna start looking at food labels. So for example, I had one guy this week start on RP. He's a cool guy, his initials are Ron Brown. But so he took a Gatorade, and this is why we need to talk about food labels. Takes the Gatorade, drinking the Gatorade, and then he's like, and I walked over to him and I was like, are you, like, it's a pretty big Gatorade. I was like, are you starting on RP? And he's like, yeah, dude, yeah. He's like, man, I feel great. I looked over and I said, you know this is 2.5 servings. And he's like, well, I'm allowed 15 grams of sugar. And I said, that's great. There's 60 grams of sugar in the whole Gatorade. Like, and that's where food labels and stuff come into play. And that's a big reason why we're going to talk about that. But, and I told him I was going to tell you about that. But, all right, so just to recap, read the links that they got sent, that got sent to you. So read through those PDFs or watch the YouTube videos or whatever. The YouTube videos are in the email. Join the RP Clients group if you haven't already. So you go to Facebook, RP Clients group, just get in there. Everybody posts so much stuff. Next week we'll be going over next week at our house we'll be going over the cheat sheet templates that we made. We'll talk about all the food labels and stuff. If you guys want protein, just let me know. I can have it here this week. I'll put some up in the group about it, but I know you guys are getting started. Real quick on that, I get a ton of questions about it because it has casein protein in there. So we carry Ascent and Progenics protein, mostly because it's the cleanest stuff you can get. The dairy-based proteins are all whey proteins. You have 3 types of whey protein. You have concentrate, you have isolate. Concentrate breaks down slower. Isolate breaks down faster. So like for example, the Progenics Recovery is an isolate protein made to drink right after the workout. It's very bioavailable. You absorb it in like 10 minutes. The Concentrate protein breaks down a little bit longer, making you feel more full. It gets into your bloodstream in about 10 minutes, but it keeps you full for an extended period of time. Similar to something like chicken. Chicken is very complex. It takes about 2 hours and 20 minutes to break down. That's why you feel so full on it for so long. But at the end of the day, you're kind of paying for some sort of convenience. So if you're going to get your volume in, you can absolutely do some chicken if you want. But you better be eating chicken here at the gym right after you're done, and bring your little container, because you need it when you're done if you choose to go that route. Cost-wise, it's basically the same. The only difference is you're just buying a bag of protein for 40, 45 bucks up front. You're not paying for 45 bucks for chicken, but the difference is the bag of protein has 30 servings in it. So if you measure that in your meal and all that. The casein protein. Casein is a very thick type of protein that breaks down for an extended period of time. So the reason they have you do that at night is, so 90% of people that wake up between 1 and 3 in the morning to go to the bathroom, it's because their cortisol levels are so high, stressor hormones get super, super high, and instead of saying, hey, go into a coma, it wakes you up, it says go to the bathroom. And usually what happens is the blood sugar drops, stressor signals go up, you wake up, feel like gotta go to the bathroom, so stress pee, it's like what diabetics do. So the casein protein allows your blood sugar to stay normal and full. You'll wake up hungry, you'll wake up with more energy, you won't wake up at night, and it keeps you full for a longer period of time. Ascent carries casein, and so does Progenics. All right, now the last thing I want you to do, so meal prep day is next Saturday. We will still be doing our meeting on Sunday, and we'll spend one more day going over all the nutrition stuff that we talked about this week. I want you to take out now your second card. So if you did not get a, I fast forwarded it. Either way, it doesn't matter. Take out your second card. If you didn't get a second card, come up here and get one. Yeah.
You get one for my mom too.
Yep. I'm gonna need, you have two now? Oh, look at you. All right, on this card, 1, 2. Yep. There you go. All right, on this card, I'm going to need this card back. You can just put them up here, whatever you want. I need you to write down no more than 5, but think like 3, and we're going to take the commonalities of it. So there will be some type of documentation of it if you can't make it next Saturday, don't worry. But when you say, I want to learn blank. Like you just went through this whole thing right now, and that's why we're doing it at the end of it. And you have like all this anxiety about meal prepping or whatever. 3 to 5 things that you really want to take away from next Saturday. What we're going to do is look at all these cards. We're going to take the common things that people wrote down and make sure that we address them next Saturday. Don't say, oh, I'm not going to be there, don't write down. Because we'll do some type of video or something, so your questions will still get answered. Cool? So write those down, then put those right here. Video is about to be done, and then you can ask me all the questions you want.